4 years ago, this company was worth nearly $100 billion. Investors believed it had rewritten the rules of fashion forever. Today, it's trying to convince those same investors it's worth less than half that in just 4 years. One of the fastest growing companies on earth lost billions in value without disappearing, without stopping, and without people stopping to buy it. So, what really happened? That's what made Shein so unusual. As its valuation was collapsing, the company itself didn't appear to be. Millions of customers were still placing orders. Thousands of new products were still appearing every single day. From the outside, it looked like one of the greatest success stories in modern retail. But behind that success was a business model so different that most people, including many investors, didn't fully understand how it actually worked. That was the mystery surrounding Shein. Companies lose value all the time when sales begin to fall. But that wasn't happening here. Customers kept buying. New products kept flooding the app. The company continued expanding into new markets. From the outside, everything looked unstoppable. Yet behind the scenes, investors had started questioning something far more important than sales. They were questioning the machine that powered the entire business. Every single day, millions of packages leave China bound for customers around the world. A surprising number of them come from the same company. While traditional fashion brands relied on stores to reach customers, Shein built something entirely different, a global retail empire powered almost entirely by smartphones, warehouses, and algorithms. To understand how that became possible, we have to go back to the very beginning. Every empire has a founder. Apple had Steve Jobs. Amazon had Jeff Bezos. Tesla had Elon Musk. But Shein was different. Behind one of the biggest fashion companies in the world stood a man almost nobody had ever seen. No major interviews. No conference speeches. Almost no public appearances. To understand how Shein became a global empire, we first have to understand the man who built it. Chris Zhu. Unlike most billionaires, Chris Zhu never became the face of his company. There were no keynote speeches, no magazine covers, no carefully crafted public image. The man behind one of the world's biggest fashion empires chose to remain almost completely invisible, and that mystery would become one of Shein's greatest advantages. His name is Chris Zhu, or more accurately, Zhu Yangshan. Even his own story is surrounded by mystery, conflicting reports, and very few public appearances. While Shein became one of the fastest growing companies in the world, its founder stayed almost completely invisible. No interviews, no conferences, almost no public profile. Before fashion, Chris Zhu worked in search engine optimization. His job wasn't selling products. It was learning how people search for them. That experience gave him an advantage most fashion companies didn't have. He understood internet behavior long before he understood clothing. In 2008, he launched Sheinside. It wasn't built around great fashion. It was built around understanding exactly how people discovered products online. When Sheinside first launched, it didn't design clothes. It didn't own factories. It simply bought products from Chinese suppliers and sold them online. One of its earliest successes came from affordable wedding dresses. Customers overseas could suddenly buy products that were almost impossible to find at those prices. The business was growing fast, but every sale depended on someone else's inventory. If suppliers stopped producing, Sheinside had nothing left to sell. Chris Zhu realized something most retailers never could. Selling someone else's products would never build a global empire. If Sheinside wanted to control its future, it first had to control how its products were made. That decision would change everything. Guangzhou wasn't just another city. It was the manufacturing heart of China's fashion industry, home to thousands of independent textile workshops. Instead of buying finished products, Shein began working directly with manufacturers. The relationship shifted from customer to coordinator. Factories started sharing production schedules, inventory levels, and sales data. Thousands of small workshops became part of one connected network. For the first time, Shein could decide what to produce, when to produce it, and exactly how much to make. The company wasn't following the market anymore. There was only one problem left. Controlling production was powerful, but how could anyone know what millions of customers would want before they bought it? Most fashion brands guessed what people would buy months in advance. Shein built a system that didn't have to guess. It simply waited for the data. Every new design started with a tiny production run, sometimes just 100 pieces. It wasn't inventory. It was an experiment. Then the algorithm took over. Every click, every search, every purchase became a signal. The system wasn't watching fashion, it was watching people. If demand exploded, production scaled within days. If customers ignored a design, it disappeared before becoming a costly mistake. That cycle repeated thousands of times every day. While competitors predicted trends, Shein measured them as they happened. Every product became an experiment. Every customer became a data point. Shein wasn't just selling clothes anymore. It was building one of the fastest learning systems in retail. That system changed everything. In just a few years, a small online retailer had become the fastest growing fashion company on the planet. Most fashion brands fought for space inside shopping malls. Shein fought for something far more valuable: space on your phone. Instead of celebrity campaigns, Shein sent free clothes to thousands of micro-influencers. Their videos didn't feel like ads. They felt like recommendations. Then came TikTok. Millions of people watched strangers unpack dozens of outfits for the price of a single designer item. The algorithm had found its perfect stage. When the pandemic changed how the world shopped, Shein was already built for that future. Online demand exploded, and so did the company. By 2022, Shein was worth $98.2 billion. A company that started with search engines and small factories had become one of the biggest names in global fashion. But building the world's fastest fashion company came with a price. As Shein grew, so did the number of questions surrounding how that speed was actually possible. Investigations by journalists and independent organizations raised concerns about working conditions inside factories linked to Shein's supply chain. Independent designers also accused Shein of copying original work only weeks after it appeared online. The same speed that spotted trends could also reproduce them. Critics also questioned the environmental cost of producing thousands of new designs every week. For many, speed had become the industry's biggest problem. Shein responded with supplier audits, new compliance programs, and sustainability commitments. But verifying thousands of independent factories remained an enormous challenge. For years, those concerns remained mostly outside the spotlight. Then regulators started asking the same questions journalists had been asking all along. Part of Shein's success relied on a little-known trade rule. Millions of small packages entered the United States without paying import duties under the de minimis exemption. When those rules changed for Chinese imports, one of Shein's biggest advantages disappeared almost overnight. The business model suddenly became much more expensive. At the same time, Shein was preparing for its biggest milestone yet, becoming a publicly traded company. But going public meant answering difficult questions. Plans to list in New York and later London failed under growing political and regulatory pressure. The company's biggest challenge was no longer growth, it was trust. Hong Kong became Shein's third attempt, but this time, it wasn't chasing a record valuation. It was trying to prove the company still deserved one. For nearly 2 decades, Shein operated faster than its competitors and quieter than almost anyone noticed. But going public changes everything. Speed is no longer enough. Now, transparency matters. For years, Shein watched the world. Every click, every purchase, every trend. Now, for the first time, the world is watching Shein. And that may be the one algorithm it never learned to predict. The story of Shein is still being written. Its IPO may determine how much the company is worth. But only time will decide whether the fastest fashion empire in history can survive in full view of the world.